Hey there. So today we're gonna go over a little bit about how to use Google Docs. So this is kind of the letter word processing is the fancy technical term for this type of software, but it's like Microsoft Word. It's Google's version of that. So let's say that I know where I want to make this. You can do it in whatever folder you want to. So as long as if I created a new one right now, it'd go in my drive. If I wanted in a certain folder, I'm just going to go to that folder and create a new one. So create a shared folder. If you've got a shared folder, it doesn't really matter. Um, you just say, yeah, it's just more or less a warning. So one of the first things here is actually not even on here, but just naming your document, whatever you want to name it. So if Google Classroom doesn't do it for you, it's kind of a good idea to have your name in there, especially if it's an assignment. Sorry about that. There's obviously some announcements of some sort going on. So back to there, once you've got the name figured out, color one, whatever it is, okay? You can move it when it's in here. It says it's in coding, but if I want it somewhere else, I can click on that and I can move it. I can go to wherever I want it. And once I get to wherever that is, I can click over here and it'll move it. Okay. You obviously can type whatever you want to here. And you can do all the typical things with it. If I make this a little bit bigger here, we can see all the options for bolding, underlining, changing font size. I can change the orientation. I can make them numbered. I can do bullets. If I want to do indents, I can do that there on the side as well. I can do anything that a normal word processor would do. But what I want to focus mostly on during this time here is some of those things that you might have never had to have done before we went into e-learning last year. So some of those weird things that aren't as common, and a lot of them happen to be in the insert menu. So right up here. So you can insert all sorts of things that the teacher might know. So first one I've got on there is a table. So I know we use that a lot in science class, but if you've got anything that's got to be organized in a table, you can click and drag for however long. This is actually a nicer feature than Microsoft Word because you can do much bigger tables than what that allows you to do, up to 20. So if I need, I don't know, 3 columns and 4 rows, I just click on there. I can get rid of my bullets, which is kind of weird to have there. Okay. And now I can give this whatever title I want, and then I can, if it's science and we're doing some data of some sort, I can type in my numbers, whatever they are, and I've got my table. And I can make these bigger. I can make the columns different sized. I can also click on things and insert rows below, above, left, right. I can delete rows if I have the whole thing highlighted. And the distribute is a good one for like if you're resizing things and it just looks goofy, like I've got columns and stuff that are all different sizes. If I click distribute, it makes them all the same size. So it's a nice way to not have to just click and drag and mess around with it that way. So that's all the stuff that you can do with the table. Okay. If you decided you didn't need the table, you kind of got to highlight it all and then click delete. Insert and editing a drawing. So a lot of times in science, I had stuff that like you're supposed to draw something. So there's a drawing in the insert menu. If you already have one in your drive, you can do it there. But if it's a new one, it will pull in Google Drawing. And this is where you can do all sorts of shapes. So let's say I wanted you to label things. If it's going to do it. Shapes, square. Apparently I didn't have it there. If I wanted you to label I don't know, the parts of a flower or something, you could go and get an image from Google search or Google Images. So whatever, this isn't the most sciencey drawing, but I can insert a photo. Must be, okay. Select buttons right underneath my picture there. And now I can draw arrows with the lines here, and I can label things with text boxes and type things in. And it's got some fancier drawing stuff as part of it. So let me make this all the way. Sometimes I noticed with Google Drawings it was kind of a pain because it didn't like to show you all the options, and I've got Google Drawings. Sometimes I've noticed this, and it's kind of a glitch that happens. You end up putting some stuff into the Google Drawing, and then it's like I can't get to the button that says save or whatever it says. So what I usually do then is I X out, but I didn't want to X out when I was recording, so I just went to my folder again and I opened up the document. Apparently it didn't recognize that I put that flower in there, but here's my drawing. It's just that rectangle that was there. And I know in a couple of my assignments I made a drawing that you could use, and I wanted you to like label it or something like that. So when the drawing is already there, you don't even have to insert it from this menu. All you have to do is click on the picture, hit edit, and it brings you to the drawing. And then you can add, oh, I guess the flower made its way there this time. And you can add whatever you need to add. You can click save and close, which sometimes it gets shoved way up at the top and you can't click it. That's annoying, but it happens, I guess. And now my new changes are there. Okay, so that was Google Drawings and inserting those. We also have, if I make it smaller, insert a photo. So you can, if you just need a photo without any fancy labels and arrows and stuff, you can always just go to image. If you've got one on your Google Drive, I don't think you can do the upload from computer on a Chromebook. You can do it from Drive. You can do it by the URL, which is if you go to Google Images and you copy the website address, you can do it that way. You can take a picture with your webcam, hopefully. Let's see what happens when I do that. Yeah, click allow. And now I can hold up my awesome little homework assignment or problem that I did, and I can take a picture with this button here, and then I can insert it. And with that, you just want to really make sure that it's not blurry. We can actually read what's there. But I know I did this all the time in my class. I wanted you to, instead of having to hassle around with drawing, okay, so we just kind of did the insert photo with your webcam. So that's a really good way to do that. And you don't even have to take the picture and save it to your drive. I didn't even know that was an option, actually. That makes the whole process way easier than what I was telling my students to do last year. And that takes care of that screenshot. If you do need to take a screenshot, that's different. The webcam photo is what I was talking about. Screenshot is just capturing what's on your screen. So the webcam photo, though, if you do need to take a webcam photo and save it to your drive, you can always just go to Google. Any of this stuff, you can go to Google and type in, how do I take a screenshot, not a screenshot, a photo using webcam Chromebook. You always add in whatever you're using. So if you have a question about how to do something on a Chromebook, you should put on Chromebook. If you have a question about how to do something on Google Docs or Google Drive, you should put using Google Drive, using Google Docs. Because otherwise you could pull up some random computer that's not even the same as yours, and you'll be reading directions that aren't even important. Right. So take a photo or video with your Chromebook, and it pulls up stuff. Support.google is a good place because Chromebooks are Google-based. Okay. So that's how you would do the webcam photo if you need to, and it'll save it to your drive. But there's an easier way now, which is cool. So if we go back to my actual document, now I've got that insert photo there. A screenshot, though, there's going to be a print screen button on usually the top right, the top row of your keyboard. Mine is PRTSC and it's in a box. I think the Chromebooks, you don't even have to push an extra button. There's just a screenshot or something like that. And what that does is it puts it on what's called the clipboard when you copy something. And now all I got to do to get it in there is I can paste it by right-clicking and hitting paste. But I rarely do that. I always do Control-V. And that pastes in. I actually got two screens up here, so my screenshots are twice as big as most people's. Yours is probably just going to be one screen. So that's the screenshot. And that's useful for putting in things from a different website. Like if someone wants you to show them what it looked like, what step you're on a website, you could do that. And then the last thing is inserting links. So this kind of goes along with my Google Drive video that I went, but if you want to insert a link to something, you can go to whatever, let's say the teacher wanted you to find an article that said how to do something. So if I go to that article, I can copy the website address, the URL is what that's called, and I can go back to my document and I can put that link right there. And then it pastes in a link somewhere. Where did it go? Did it make my picture a link? Oh, there we go. So now I've got a link. I can edit that link as well. I can also make text a link. So if I get rid of some of this stuff because it's making me do all sorts of weird things with this. Let's say I wanted to say, click this link. I want the link part to be the actual link that you click on. So if I right click on that word and I highlighted it first, I can go down to the link and I can do the same thing. And so I can paste that link, and then when someone clicks on this, they can click here and up pops whatever you linked them to. Kind of going off of our Google Doc here thing with our shareable link, if I go back to some other document here, and let's say I want someone to be able to open a document that I have in my drive. So like maybe I want someone to be able to see my answer key for whatever assignment. I'm going to go, I can do get shareable link. And it's going to open this up. Only people added can open this link. Oh my God, anyone with the link. You can mess around with who you want to be able to see it. So anyone with the link now, I can click copy, and now I can go back to my document, and I can say, or this link, and I can right click link here, and I can paste it in. And now when they click on that one, it's going to bring them to a file in my Google Drive. So that's kind of handy. You might have to put in links a couple times for different assignments, depending on whatever your teacher's having you do. So, or maybe they ask you to share or email them the link to your assignment or something. Although most of the time it's going to be done through Google Classroom, but you never know. Okay, so that's most of the insert menu here. I don't think there's anything else in there. Maybe an equation occasionally if you're in math or even science. Special characters, some fancy looking things. But otherwise, let's move on to some of the other stuff. That would be creating columns. So if I make this big again, so I get more of my options back. Otherwise, if something isn't visible in this menu, you just have to click the dots on this side, like clear formatting. Otherwise, you want to, this is spacing. I guess columns isn't one of them. So you're going to go to Format, I believe. If you need 2 columns or 3 columns, you go to the Format menu, and you can make however many columns you need. And that just breaks it into 2 different parts. So if I type some stuff here, and then I think you have to have a bunch of text, and then it'll go up to the second column. Okay, so that's the column stuff. What else? Oh, I know I did, just to help you know like how long your answer should be, to know if it's detailed enough or that kind of thing. You can do word counts. So if you select what you want to count, creating images. I don't know what that is doing here. So I got rid of that. So tools, I believe, word count. And then it'll count how many words are there. Obviously, counting 4 or 5 or however many there is pretty easy. But if you've got a whole block of it, and you're supposed to have 250 words or whatever the requirement is, this will help you count and know. So that's a pretty handy feature, especially if your teacher asks you to do certain things with a certain length. Then we go back here. Comments. Okay, so if there's something you want your teacher to know, or you have a question on something, you can do comments by highlighting something. And then up in the top, there's a comment history. I can make a new comment, and it pulls up the stuff on the right side here. So make that bigger again. I can say to my teacher, does this look good? Or I don't get this. Can you explain? Or something like that. And you can click comment. One thing that I would add here is if you're going to comment like this, so now I can see that it's highlighted, I can see that this is the comment with it. I would actually recommend that if you've got a teacher and you're doing a comment at Prairie Work, you add their email address, because this is going to send them an email. If you don't do this, oftentimes the teachers don't know. You can comment on your stuff all you want, and it's just a private comment. It's not shared with anyone. If I go onto your Google document, I'll see it, but otherwise I don't know that it happened. So if you add that in there, and I'm going to see if it's a plus or an @ symbol here. That should send me an email address or an email with this comment. It changed it to an @ symbol, so apparently they've changed it since last year to an @ instead of a plus, but looks like they did that automatically anyway. So that's how I would suggest doing comments, is using the teacher's email address to help make sure that it gets there. Resolving comments. Okay, we went over making sure the teacher and Mo comments. Okay, so I'll pull that up again. Nothing too complicated there, but you can add a reply. So here's my reply, and I might do that back to you, and then we can have a conversation here. If you've decided that you're done with it and you kind of want to clean up some comments, there's usually a resolve button. It's not popping up for some reason right now. I can obviously delete the comment too. But then the other thing that some of your teachers might use is this thing called a emote comment, actually, and it's a voice recording thing. It doesn't do video, but it will record our voice. So anyway, if I speak, it will take my words and attempt to type them out with characters. Sometimes it's not the best, but you can click a little button that will play it. And then you can hear us leaving comments with our voice instead of with words. So that's what the emote comments are. And then viewing previous versions. Okay, so this is the last thing on Google Drive here. If I want to see what some of the changes were a while ago, I can come up here to this menu, view history. I sit under here. I might have to refresh this because I don't know why it says creating images. Okay, so last edit was 2 minutes ago. If I click on that, it's going to open the version history. So if there's something like you deleted pages of stuff on accident because you selected something and then hit the wrong button, or your mouse pad was doing it when you weren't wanting to, anything that happens, you can go back, and I can go back to a couple minutes ago, 20 minutes ago, when there was nothing there, or I can go back to what it was now. And if this was a document I've been working on for several days, then you would see all sorts of stuff. And if someone else is working on it, you can see what they changed, and you can see all of your version histories right here. If you want to see more named versions, you have to name them. I haven't named any of them, so it just does kind of every several minutes. It makes a different version. It doesn't show you literally everything that happens, but it gives you a pretty good idea. Then you can go back to where you can actually make changes by clicking that arrow there.